Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are going to sample some of the best food that the UK has to offer. Greggs.
So I actually lived in the UK over 10 years ago. So I have tried some Greggs items before, but it's been a long time and I know there's loads of different products. But Brandon, he's from North America, he's from Canada, and he doesn't really have much experience with Greggs at all. So I'm excited and curious to see what he's going to think of the most successful bakery chain in the UK. So let's have some breakfast.
So of course, the best way to start your day is with some hot food and hot drinks. So what I have here is our first item, and it is a pumpkin spice latte. Yes, Greggs has pumpkin spice lattes. So I haven't had any of their coffee yet. I'm gonna try that later in the day, but right now it's fall time, so I decided I don't care if it makes me basic to love pumpkin spice lattes, but I love them. Let's see how Greggs compares to Starbucks. It's actually pretty good. It's not super pumpkin spicy or anything like that, but it definitely has that hint of that. And this was way cheaper than what you get a pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks. I think this was only like £2.89 or something like that. Yeah, really cheap. Definitely worth it, and puts me in that fall mood, so it's a good start.
I also got the Hazelnut hot chocolate, which is a seasonal item as well, I think, with some whipped cream on top. I don't really taste hazelnut, but it's good. It tastes like less thick and milky though, a bit more like watery.
They probably make it with water.
I don't know, but I technically like that because then it's not super sickly. Like I feel like when you drink a whole hot chocolate, you feel sick after. This is yummy.
Now I'm going to start with our first hot food item, which is a hash brown. So these are pretty crispy. They look really light. I don't know if it's going to compare to McDonald's, but I'm going to try it anyway. Although it was sitting in kind of a hot food kind of window, it's kind of cold. It's definitely not hot. It tastes a little bit stale, like you said, even though it's morning right now, it's breakfast time right now. So it should be hot and fresh, but it's got almost a little bit of a chew to it. It's not terrible, but McDonald's is better. So the next item on our list is a omelet and bacon roll. I don't know, do you guys call this a butty? A butty? Is that what this is? I don't know what makes a butty or whatever, but basically it has big chunk of bacon. It's like a rasher kind of bacon though, the UK style, and then omelet, and it also has ketchup. You got ketchup on it, right? Yeah. It's pretty good. It's really simple. The bread is super soft. It's like a little bit buttery, and the bacon is really salty, and then you have the sweetness obviously from the ketchup. Obviously super basic kind of breakfast thing, but this is kind of a perfect way to start your day. It's actually really good. I like this.
This is better than I thought, but the bacon is like British bacon, or is Canadian bacon like this too? Is this
it's a little bit different, but it's similar.
I prefer the American bacon, but
how dare you?
This is more like ham. I don't know, but it's good. Another roll we got was the vegan sausage roll. Well, breakfast sausage roll.
I guess so.
We always love trying out vegan products. This one wasn't freshly made behind the counter. This one was sitting out with the hash browns, so it doesn't have any sauce.
Yeah.
Because it came in a bag, so I don't know how moist this is gonna be. I actually really like the taste of the sausage, but this is so dry. Like, because there's no sauce and the sausage is a bit hard and dry as well. So I feel like we need to take this home and put some ketchup on.
100%.
But the sauce, I mean, the sausage is really good. It's even quite spiced and stuff. I like it.
So I just tried this as well, and you know what it reminds me of? Stuffing. The flavor reminds me of like a stuffing from like Thanksgiving or something, like the spices. Maybe there's like sage and thyme or something like that in there. It just tastes like stuffing in a sausage form, which actually I really like. So I 100% agree. If this had some mayonnaise or some ketchup on it, this would be actually really good.
You can probably ask them to put it on.
You totally can. But yeah, sauce and this will be perfect. The next and final item we have is the bacon and cheese wrap. So we're very confused when we got this because we asked for it and they were like, oh, it'll be 5 minutes. And they actually made this fresh. And of course, we were expecting like a tortilla of some sort, but it's a pastry with bacon and cheese. But it looks really good. Just not what we were expecting. This is freaking amazing. This is by far the best thing we had. It's super salty, cheesy. It has the same kind of bacon, but I really think the melted cheese on top and the fact that they cooked it a little bit, it's a little bit crispy. It brings out the saltiness of it. And the pastry around it is really, really flaky as well. Definitely my favorite thing that we've had, besides of course the pumpkin spice. That was good too.
Brandon's definitely right. This is the best. And maybe that means that Gregg's pastries are just way better than their rolls. And we're gonna find out later because we're gonna have an even bigger Gregg's feast for, I guess, lunch/dinner. So stay tuned.
I am the pigeon master. I'm just kidding.
So a few facts about Gregg's. It was founded in 1939, so 84 years ago in Newcastle by a guy named John Gregg. And apparently there's over 2,300 branches in the UK, which you can totally notice because here in Nottingham, for example, there's a Gregg's like every 5 minutes. And apparently it also has, I think, 21,000 employees. It's probably the most famous, successful pastry shop in the UK.
We're now back for round 2 of Gregg's for our, I guess you would call it dinner, since it's what, 3 o'clock or something right now. If you go to Gregg's, the most iconic thing, as Anja mentioned before, is probably the sausage roll. We kind of told a little white lie before because it's not my first time having Gregg's, as the title suggests, but it's my second time. But that's of course not as catchy, so it doesn't really make sense.
You only had one item
I've only had one item ever in Gregg's, and we've been to the UK probably 5 or 6 times. I've only been once, and the only thing I've ever tried was the sausage roll. This is going to be my first time having one in a long time, so I'm excited to try it again. Let's see. Yum. Super flaky, super greasy. The meat is really soft and pretty salty as well. But this is like the perfect little snack. But I'm pretty sure one of these is maybe like 400 calories or something crazy on its own. So I wouldn't eat too many of these, but it's delicious. And I can see why people like to start their day with Gregg's, like a coffee, a tea, and a sausage roll, because these are delicious.
So I have the vegan sausage roll right here. Gregg's actually has a few vegan items nowadays, and that was not the case 10 years ago when I lived in the UK. Let's try this. I don't think I would know that this is not sausage, but I'm going to compare it to the other one. It's a bit dry. I feel like the normal one looks more flaky and buttery than the vegan one, which makes sense because like this one just looks a lot more dry. I thought maybe you couldn't notice from the outside which one's which, but there was immediately you could tell which one was the vegan one. Let's see. But it's actually not very different at all, which is kind of crazy. Apart from the pastry, which is more dry in the vegan one, they're very similar. So good job, Gregg's.
I'm going to try the steak bake now, which is apparently one of the most popular items. So I actually asked Gregg's by Facebook and by email what their top items were to make this a lot easier to see if we could choose what the best things were. But on Facebook they said, oh, it's secret, it's our little secret, and they wouldn't tell me. And then on email they got back to me and then referred me to their marketing department, and then they never got back to me. So we just decided to pick things for ourselves. All right, let's try this steak bake, see if it really deserves a top spot. Yeah, I love this. I mean, obviously if you like pies here, it tastes like that, like a beef pie with gravy. It's super flaky, as with most of these things super greasy. Yeah, that's really, really delicious.
I don't think I've ever had this before. I should have gotten that in the past. I never did. I always just got the cold sandwiches. There's real big chunks in here actually. And yeah, it's delicious. Probably the best thing so far. The next item I'm gonna try is the honey mustard and cheese toastie, which is definitely a new product. They have another one, which is just cheddar, I think. Fortunately, this is not like super hot anymore, so the cheese is not super gooey, but. The honey mustard flavor is really good. It could be more cheesy, but the flavor is really good. It's delicious.
After all these pastry items, my mouth is a little bit dry, so we have a couple beverages here as well. I decided to try one of their coffees because it is a pastry place, and I think most people go and they get a coffee or a tea. So I got their Americano. Earlier, I had the pumpkin spice latte, which was delicious, so I have high hopes for this, even though it's kind of low budget coffee. It's not too bad. It's a little bit watery, but it's also cold because we've been filming and doing all these other things. I feel like if this was fresh and I was having this first thing in the morning, it would definitely be satisfactory.
I don't drink coffee and I already had the hot chocolate earlier, but we saw that they actually have their own drinks now too. This one's a sparkling mango and pineapple lemonade, or I don't know, just like a fruit drink. And it doesn't actually have any sugar. So this one only has 15 calories. Let's see. Yummy.
Now I'm going to try the char-grilled chicken oval bite. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anja said that she used to eat it all the time, so she wants to have my reaction. Not bad. For $3.90, I mean, this is definitely not bad. I feel like it could use a little something extra here. And luckily, we got two kinds of sauces. We got a hot sauce and a barbecue sauce.
Why, is it dry?
No, it's actually wet, but I just want to try the hot sauce. Let's see. Okay. It's actually surprisingly a little bit spicy. It's kind of like a vinegary-based Frank's Red Hot kind of sauce. It's actually delicious and it goes really well with this. Yeah, I can see why you would order this. It's pretty good.
The next item is another pastry, the chicken bake. I think I might have had this before and didn't really like it that much, so let's see. I mean, I think it's better than I remember because there's actual chicken in there. I feel like I remember just eating sauce. Like I always felt like these bakes were just filled with sauce, and these ones are not like that at all. So maybe Gregg's got better. I also think the actual shop looks a lot better than it used to look. I don't know, I lived in Scotland and Edinburgh. I feel like they were a bit more grimy. And now they're like really nice with all the products on display and
Greggs is posh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the donuts are all like nicely lined up and all that. I don't remember it like that, but so this is actually quite good, but the steak bake is better.
I'm now going to try the pizza. I feel like this is also one of the most popular items, if I'm not mistaken.
It's also one thing I used to get.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks super greasy. If you look at the bag, the grease has completely soaked through it. It looks kind of like a cafeteria pizza kind of thing that you would maybe get in high school. I never did because I brought my own lunch like a dork. I don't know how you can go wrong with pizza. I would say the dough isn't exactly super flavorful or anything like that, but the sauce, the tomato sauce, is really sweet. It reminds me of Greco. We have Greco in Canada, maybe only the Canadians will really know, but it has a really sweet style tomato sauce. And I can imagine if this was hot and the cheese was bubbly and melty, this would be actually pretty good. For 2 or 3 pounds, I would say that this is definitely worth picking up.
Another new item I've never seen before is the veg Bhaji flatbread. It has something that looks like falafel and like curry.
Is Bhaji like pakora maybe? That's what it looks like, like fried vegetables smashed down.
It has red onions in it and some pepper chutney. It smells really good. I think the patty or whatever, these like falafel things, they're like delicious. They are like vegetable pakora. because it's cold now, because we waited so long, it's gotten like too dry and stale. I think if we warmed it up again, it would be delicious. But I think it could use a little bit more of the chutney and just a bit more moisture, and the bread
That's why there's sauce.
maybe needs to be a bit more soft and fresh. But yeah.
Our final item is our dessert. And we have a pink Jammie donut. We tried to order a second donut, yum yum, but Anja forgot, I guess. She thought that she ordered it, but it wasn't there. Maybe another time. As far as donuts go, I'm not an expert. We don't even eat donuts that often, but the only thing I really have to compare this to is Tim Hortons, which you do have in the UK now. So let's see how it is. I mean, I was gonna say, how do you mess up a donut? But you definitely can. Sometimes they can be really dry, but this is not dry at all. This is really soft. It's really sweet. I didn't really get to the jam part yet. You can see it poking out a little bit here. Yeah, that's really good actually. Potentially better than just some donuts that you get at Tim Hortons, but I haven't had Tim Hortons for a long time. This is actually better than I thought it was gonna be. So, impressed. I think good way to end this Gregg's feast.
So this is the end of the video. We're stuffed, and I actually think Gregg's may have gotten better, and I think it kind of gets a bad rep in the UK. I think most people say it's not that great. I think for fast food and for the price, it's pretty good. So did you like Gregg's?
Yeah, I thought overall everything was pretty decent. I think that if it was fresh, it would have been great, but of course with all the filming and stuff, things get a little bit cold.
And what's the best item?
I definitely think that the steak bake and the Jammie
Agreed.
donut, those were both amazing. And maybe the Bhaji was the worst. The bread was really chewy. I think maybe, again, if it was fresh, different story, but everything was still...
I like steak bake and the pizza actually. I love the pizza still,
Cafeteria
years later. Same sweet, old school taste. But that's it. If you want to see more from the UK and more food videos in the UK, make sure to subscribe, like this video, all that.
But for now, that's it. Say goodbye this time.
Goodbye!